Masters in Mass Communication at St. Aloysius College. We offer specialization in print and new media, corporate communication and broadcast media. Admission open for 2 years post-graduation course. Contact
Welcome back to Campus Eye. Let's continue with this episode. This brings more about the precautions to be adapted.
When people are infected by malaria parasites, the signs and symptoms of malaria typically begins on 8th to 25th days following infections. However, symptoms may occur later in those who have taken anti-malaria medications as a prevention. The most common symptom of malaria is fever when the body temperature is high. The fever from malaria usually comes very suddenly. The infected person may have other symptoms like headache, sweating, fatigue, nausea and vomiting, dry cough and muscle pains.
When I was suffering from malaria, initially I had fever in the morning, dry cough and sweating.
Muscle pain, nausea and vomiting.
Breathing increases dramatically in the rainy season when the water collects in a well, ponds, water tanks, paddy fields, etc. These act as breeding grounds. Construction sites provide ample breeding places for the mosquitoes. Water on the concrete slabs used for curing, water collected in tanks, water collected in and around the construction site owing to blockage of water drains. On all this help the building. It is very important to destroy this collection of water or to keep them properly covered to prevent the breedings. While visiting to our construction site in Mangalore, Mr. Prakash is a constructor who spoke this. If we find mosquitoes, we spray chemicals to the water and usually once in 10 days regularly. When laborers get sick, we take them to the Corporation for treatment. We receive tablets from Corporation for malaria and elephantiasis disease and being distributed among our workers. We also provide mosquito net. We don't keep stagnant water and rarely discharge to the drainage. We also provide good facilities to the workers. Dr. Srinivas shared his extensive wisdom of knowledge to be more precautious about malaria, especially during the upcoming rainy season.
So essentially for controlling malaria in Mangalore, we need to control the mosquito breeding. Number one, in construction sites, various engineering methods can be designed and we need the cooperation of all the builders and contractors in this regard. They have tried their best to help, but it's yet not enough. The very fact that we have so many cases of malaria is evidence to that fact. Secondly, there are household breeding sites. For example, a well is a very good breeding site, so that can be taken care of by adding guppy fish or gambusia fish into the well. These fish eat the mosquito larvae. So there's a permanent way of controlling malaria from wells. Then we have overhead tanks. If there is a 1 or 2 inch gap in the overhead tank, again it is enough to breed lots of mosquitoes. So all the overhead tanks should be kept closed, and that is the responsibility of the owner of the house. Similarly, there are tanks out in the open, which so if water is kept for a week's time, that is enough for mosquito breeding. Then we have flower pots which are kept outside, and so any water collection in the flower pots, water collected in buckets, bottles or whatever that is thrown out, so that is enough for mosquito breeding. So now it is March, April, this is time you should clear your terrace of all the dirt and all the leaves and all that is collected on the terrace, so that when the rains come in, so all the water can flow very easily. So once the rain starts, this is another thing that happens. Now we all have concrete roofs, we do not have tile roofs. So on the concrete top, water collects and nobody bothers to clear it once it is raining. So please see that all the terraces and their drains are...
The major message from me is to use bed net to avoid malaria. And and if anybody has fever, kindly attend one of our government sponsored clinics so that you will have tested for malaria, and appropriate treatment for malaria will be given in our all government facilities in and around Mangalore.
I keep my area clean and free from stagnant water. I feel it's the best way to avoid malaria.
The best way to keep away from malaria is to keep your area clean and dry.
As you know, mosquitoes in Mangalore has got drug resistancy capacity, so I feel using mosquito net is the best.
That's all for this week's Campus Eye. See you all next week at the same time. This is Arun Lucas signing off along with camera person Jishnu Menon.
ಪ್ರತಿ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪಸ್ನ ಸುದ್ದಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪಸ್